What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a great wide receiver football IQ quiz to test your knowledge of the position. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and would like a daily gym and on-field workout schedule to follow with the exact sets and reps to do, gym exercises, field drills, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. It's 2 months of daily exercise. We include rest days, conditioning days, field drills, examples of the drills, and the gym exercises. So very first link in that description below, fellas, if you're interested in that. Let's get started with this video. So if you're not sure how our quiz style videos work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a pre-snap look. I'm going to show a clip. I'm going to ask you a series of questions about the pre-snap look or clip, give you a chance to pause the video and answer the question, and then I'm going to break down why it was correct, right or wrong, etc. Okay, so now, first example here, how would you guys run a slant route versus this specific coverage? So how would you guys run a 3-step slant versus this specific coverage? And it is a quick game passing concept. So by quick game, I mean that it's like a slant and a bubble, double slant, slant flat, whatever it is. Quick game, quarterback's just getting it out of his hands. So how would you guys run a slant route versus this specific coverage? You guys can go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So this is actually going to be a 2-part question because I'm going to show this clip full speed, and I'm going to ask you what this wide receiver did wrong because he ended up running this thing wrong. But let's break down how you would run it first. So this DB is lined up, obviously, what? Inside shade, right? Inside shade, not so much like pressed up right on the line of scrimmage, not giving us any room, but I would still consider this press coverage. He's about a yard, maybe a yard and a half away, and he is inside shade. So if you guys said you would take a diamond release and you would attack his outside shoulder and outside hip for 3 steps, that would be correct. So I tried to throw you off by saying, oh, it's a quick slant, it's quick game, because I wanted to see if anybody said, oh, we just got to get in front of him right now. Take one jab to the outside, then cut and cross in front of his face. Reason why that wouldn't work is because we got to understand why this DB is playing inside leverage. The reason why I do these quizzes is so to teach you guys having a good pre-snap process. You have to be able to identify 3 things on a DB: his leverage, the distance, and then the type of coverage. So when he's inside leverage, that tells us a lot of things. He's trying to force us outside, trying to prevent the inside route. But at the end of the day, it's still man-to-man coverage. So what you would do, again, you would attack 3 hard steps to his outside shoulder and hip, flip those hips vertical, and you would try to slip underneath. So I'm going to play this full speed, and I want you to think what this wide receiver did wrong. So I'm going to play it full speed a couple times, then we'll break it down. So he comes off the ball. DB's able to stay, and then obviously makes a great play and gets this interception. So I'm going to play it one more time, and I'll give you guys a chance to pause the video. So he comes off the ball. What do you think this wide receiver did wrong? Okay, so you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So what he didn't do was run hard, fellas. If you guys said that he was running half speed, running slow, didn't self-fade, that would be 100% correct. Because remember, a diamond release, like I said, is 3 steps attacking the outside shoulder and hip of the DB. But what are we trying to make him think? We're trying to get him to open up his hips and think that we are running a fade ball. So to make him think we're running a fade ball, we actually got to go. You actually got to run hard. You got to open up your stride and run full speed. But this wide receiver looks like he's running half speed. This DB is not going to be threatened by that. Because again, he committed his hips, committed his shoulders. He did the right release, but there's also the technique behind the release that matters, fellas. So if you're trying to get a DB to flip open on any given scenario, you got to run hard. Because if we don't run hard, the DB's not going to run hard, and he is going to keep that leverage and stay disciplined and make a play on that slant all day long. Great job by that DB making that play. Wide receiver could have gotten more separation if he would have exploded off the ball faster. Okay, so now, second example here is going to be kind of the same format. I'm going to ask you a question about the pre-snap look, and then I'm going to ask you what the wide receiver did wrong because this route doesn't end up working, okay? So now, how would you guys run? Let me ask you this. This is going to be kind of a different question. How would you guys run a fade route versus this specific coverage? So how would you guys run a fade route versus this specific look? So you guys can go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So obviously, first thing right off the bat that we notice is that there's obviously some space between the DB, between Revis here and Odell Beckham Jr. So there's obviously some space. So if you guys said that you would want to attack his leverage to the inside, close the space, so almost try to step onto his toes and give him a fake inside, that would be correct. What a lot of wide receivers will do in this case, especially when they have to run this fade ball, DB's lined up a little bit shaded to the inside, we got some room between the two of us, they'll just try to take off and run. But remember, it's about having a pre-snap process and identifying what the DB's goal is with this coverage. His goal, prevent the inside route. Don't give up the slant, the dig, or the post, and force everything to that sideline. And you see how Odell, he's lined up on the bottom of the numbers, so we don't have a ton of space to the outside. So we would have to attack him. Let's close the space. Let's step on his toes. Let's threaten him to the inside just to hold him there so I could get right past him and go vertical. If that's what you guys said, that's correct. If you guys said just run by him, just use your speed, that would be wrong. Now I'm going to play this clip full speed, and then we're going to talk about what he did wrong in this case. So play it full speed, and then you guys can think about your answer. So he comes off the ball, and then this route doesn't end up working. So what do you think this wide receiver did wrong? What do you think Odell did wrong here? Let's play it again one more time. So what do you think he did wrong with his release? And this might be an easy one because we kind of just talked about it here. So you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So he did exactly what we were talking about. He just took off and ran to the outside, right? He did not close space. He gave this little move to the inside. But again, even if Revis, like let's say this was the greatest move, the greatest fake to the inside ever, right? And Revis jumped way to the inside. We still got to get vertical, and there's still a big gap. So Revis could easily cut us off at the angle and meet us right to the break point or the catch point, right? And that's pretty much what he does. He hesitates, takes a step inside, doesn't hesitate too much, but he's able to open up, and he's able to just squeeze us all the way to the sideline. And Odell is actually able to get past him, but you see where he's running this fade ball. He's running the fade ball with probably less than a yard of space to that sideline. Guys, that is an impossible throw for that QB. It's a miracle that this quarterback was actually able to put it on Odell, and that probably should have been a catch. But Revis did his job forcing him to that sideline. Guys, that's a very, very tough throw for the QB, and we need to give him space. And we give him space by eating up the cushion with the DB. Close the space. Step on his toes so we could get hip to hip, a.k.a. getting skinny, right? Because when you guys are running downfield, your hip should be right next to this DB's hip, and you should be getting into his frame. You should be getting into his cushion. If you just try to run away, he meets you to the sideline. You close the space, and you go hip to hip with him, that's when we got room. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Again, Odell, good speed getting around him, fighting the hands. Probably should have caught the ball, but that's just not enough room for my quarterback. Okay, so this example here, I'm going to be playing full speed. We're not going to show a pre-snap look. I'm just going to ask you a series of questions about the full speed example, okay? So this wide receiver's in a situation where it looks like this DB is going to be physical. He's going to get hands on him right off the line of scrimmage, maybe lunge at him. So a good release to use here would be probably maybe like that step back release where he steps back, creates some space between the two of you, maybe like a split release, and then get up into the route. But let's watch what he does. So I'm going to ask you guys, the question here is, what do you think this wide receiver did wrong? Why did this not work? Because conceptually he did the right thing, but why do you think this didn't work? So let's play at full speed. So he steps back, but obviously this DB is able to lock it up, get hands on him, and pretty much disrupt the entire route. So why do you think that happened? What do you think? Why do you think this went bad? So I'm going to play at full speed one more time. What do you think he did wrong right here? So you guys can go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So what do you think this wide receiver did wrong? So you go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So guys, when you do this step back release, when you're trying to create some space up against a DB who looks like he's going to be real physical, you have to get up into the route and you have to attack him vertical. So like, I actually don't know what route this wide receiver was trying to run, but it looks like he wanted to step back and give a move outside and take an inside release, right? So if you leave this gap between us and the DB, very similar to the last example we talked about with Odell, he's going to be able to recover. He's going to be able to cut us off to the angle. So this wide receiver, when he stepped back, stepped off the line, created some space, he should have been trying to step onto this DB's toes, close the cushion, and fake outside wall going vertical, rather than staying behind the line of scrimmage attacking lateral. Because look, he got the DB to jump, he got his cleats out of the grass, but when he took this inside release, there was too much room for this DB to recover, and that's why it didn't work. So if you guys said that he was operating behind the line of scrimmage, kind of dancing behind the line of scrimmage, you would be correct. Guys, if we step back and we create space, then you got to go eat up the space. We can't step back, do all this lateral movement, movement because that wastes a little bit of too much time, but also it puts the DB in a great position to recover and cut us off no matter where we are trying to run. So let's play this again, full speed one more time, fellas. Remember, we use the step back. We got to get up into the route. We cannot dance. We cannot try to make this guy miss lateral, because that is only going to end badly. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout schedule, everything wide receivers should be doing in the gym and on the field, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.